You don't wake up one day and find her love gone. It disappears slowly, through silence, sighs, and eyes that stop sparkling when they see you. She's still there, in the same room, but it's like she's somewhere far away. Not yelling, not fighting, just fading, and you feel it. But you don't say anything, because part of you hopes it's just a phase, while another part already knows. She's losing love for you. The truth is, when a woman stops loving you, she won't always say it out loud. She'll do these 6 things first, and if you don't recognize them, you'll end up chasing a ghost. Number 1, emotional distance begins. She stops loving you long before she says it. Her goodbye doesn't come with a fight or a breakdown. It comes in silence, in routine glances that no longer linger, in conversations that feel more like interviews than moments of connection. You know something's off, and every part of your gut screams it, but you keep telling yourself it's nothing, that it'll pass, that she's just tired. But men, have you ever stood next to a woman who used to be your entire world, and suddenly she feels like a stranger, like her soul checked out, but her body stayed? That's emotional distance, and most men ignore it, thinking they can fix it by doing more. Buying flowers, sending sweet texts, planning romantic nights. But none of it lands because she's not mentally with you anymore. She's already built emotional walls where there used to be bridges. You used to be her peace, her person, her emotional home. Now you're a habit. Something she's too tired to confront, but too detached to cherish. And here's the reality most won't tell you. When a woman begins to emotionally check out, no amount of love, kindness, or patience will bring her back unless she chooses it. Her emotional distance is not a mood swing. It's not a bad day. It's a decision made in 1,000 micro moments you didn't even notice. And if you're paying attention, you'll see it in how she stops opening up about her day. You used to know everything, her struggles, her goals, her frustrations with the world. Now you ask, "How was your day?" And she replies with, "Fine." One word, flat, empty, no energy, no detail. That's not shyness. That's detachment. That's her choosing not to bring you into her world anymore. You feel it when she touches her phone more than she touches your hand. When she used to cuddle into you like you were her safe space, but now she sleeps facing the other side, her body language saying everything her mouth won't. You see it in the way her eyes used to light up when you walked into the room, but now, nothing. Just a glance, maybe a nod. And men, the biggest mistake we make. We chase harder when she pulls away. We start working overtime to regain her affection. We become desperate for her attention, for her validation. But the more you chase, the more she retreats. Because women don't respect desperation. They feel it, they smell it, and it repels them. You must understand female psychology. She wants a man who's grounded, certain, self-respecting, not someone who loses himself trying to win her back. She doesn't want to mother you emotionally while she's already pulling away. And in today's world, where social media makes everyone believe there's always someone better, where shallow validation is a swipe away, emotional distance is often the first step toward emotional replacement. She may not be cheating physically, but emotionally, she's already auditioning the next man in her mind, the man who makes her feel something again, the man who seems more confident, more in control, more masculine. So what do? First, stop trying to fix her feelings. That's not your job. Your job is to see reality clearly and respond like a man of value. A woman pulling away emotionally is a mirror, not a mission. It reflects where you may have lost yourself, where you stopped leading, where you became too passive, too predictable, too available. This isn't about blaming yourself for her shift. It's about reclaiming your power. Take her emotional distance as a signal, not to chase, but to check yourself. When's the last time you prioritized your own goals? When's the last time you walked with purpose, with clarity, with direction? Women are biologically wired to be drawn to strength, not arrogance, not control, but strength, emotional, mental, and directional strength. So when she pulls away, you pull into yourself. Get back in the gym, not for revenge, but for discipline, for presence. Start leading in your own life, not to prove anything, but to re-establish your sense of direction. She doesn't need you to fight for her attention. She needs to feel that you are the kind of man who doesn't beg for love because his self-worth is built internally. A woman will emotionally abandon a man she no longer respects. She might still love parts of you, but without respect, that love decays. So build yourself back into a man who commands respect without words. Become emotionally unshakable. Get your finances in order. Lead your space. Cut the over-apologizing. And start asking yourself powerful questions. What boundaries am I enforcing in this relationship? Am I being the man I admire, or just trying to be liked? Am I reacting to her moods or guiding the emotional climate with calm leadership? Do I even want her, or am I afraid of being alone? Because emotional distance is rarely about just her. It's about you too. It's about how far you've drifted from your masculine center. The most attractive man is the one who remains steady in the storm, who doesn't fall apart when someone else disconnects. And when she sees that you're not pleading, that you're not chasing, that you're not emotionally spiraling, she either recalibrates or she walks. And either way, you win. Because you're no longer living on the emotional leash of someone else's inconsistency. You've reclaimed your spine, your direction, your emotional clarity. And that's when you become truly free. So next time you feel her pulling away, don't chase, don't panic, don't drown in what you can't control. Observe, rise, refocus. Your energy is too powerful to waste on someone who's emotionally checked out. Be the man who doesn't just survive emotional distance, be the man who evolves because of it. Number 2, secrets replace sharing. You know she's hiding something when she starts answering your questions like you're a stranger in her life. One-word replies, delayed texts. She used to pour her heart out to you without needing to be asked. Now, you get summaries, vague explanations, and energy that feels filtered. The conversations that once gave you life now feel like interrogations. You're walking on eggshells, wondering why the woman who once made you feel like the center of her universe suddenly makes you feel like a burden in it. This is how emotional secrecy begins. And if you're not tuned in, if you're still trying to fix the surface with gifts and sweet talk, you're missing what's dying at the root. She used to tell you who annoyed her at work, what she dreamt about the night before, what her friend said over coffee, how she's scared of failing or excited about next year. Now it's just nothing much. She used to tell you everything. Now you scroll through her social feed to piece together the parts of her life she doesn't offer you anymore. That's not an accident. It's a deliberate withdrawal. And men, stop gaslighting yourself into thinking it's just a phase. When she starts keeping you out of her world, she's not being mysterious. She's disconnecting. She's hiding. She's removing your access to her inner life. And when a woman starts pulling away emotionally like that, it's because she no longer trusts you with her truth, or she no longer cares to share it. Both are dangerous. She may still be warm on the outside, but that doesn't mean her heart hasn't gone cold. And too many men make the mistake of chasing closeness with surface-level effort instead of addressing the deeper shift. Women are wired to seek safety before they open up emotionally. When she stops sharing, it means she no longer feels emotionally safe with you. That safety was either broken or outgrown. You stopped listening. You got too reactive. You started ignoring the little details that used to mean everything to her. Or maybe you stopped growing. And now she no longer sees you as the man who holds her future, so she stops feeding you her present. That shift doesn't happen overnight. It happens in subtle silence, in the skipped conversations, in the way she starts texting others more than you, in the way she casually leaves out names, events, places, because she's protecting that part of her world from you now. She may still smile at you, still sleep in your bed, still kiss you goodnight, but emotionally, she's building her own house inside her head, and you're not invited. This is how emotional betrayal begins, not through cheating, but through secrecy, through hidden parts of her that you no longer get to see. And if you confront her, she'll say you're overthinking, that nothing's changed, that she's just tired. And deep down, you'll want to believe it. But your instincts know better, because men can feel it. When their woman becomes emotionally unavailable, her presence feels performative, her affections minimal, and your conversations drained of life. She used to get excited to tell you about her world. Now she leaves you out of it like a guest she no longer needs to impress. Stop begging to be included. Stop trying to re-earn what was already taken away. Her secrecy is your signal, not to fight harder, but to wake up, to examine the man you've become, to re-evaluate whether this relationship is still a reflection of your highest self or just a cage you're too afraid to leave. If she no longer trusts you with her truth, then ask yourself, have you built the emotional space for her to be vulnerable, or have you lost that space because you've been stagnant? A woman will only keep sharing her world with a man who keeps expanding his own. When you stop evolving, she stops offering. That's how respect erodes. And when respect dies, love is next. So if you find her pulling away into secrecy, stop panicking and start improving. Not to win her back, but to realign with the kind of man who demands truth, presence, and emotional reciprocity. Build a life that requires honesty through your actions, your strength, your consistency. Women trust what they feel, not what they hear. She needs to feel your presence as power, your attention as purpose, your masculinity as direction. Because if she doesn't feel emotionally safe with you, she'll start entertaining men who can give her that, even if it's just in fantasy. So level up, clean up your energy. Get clear about what kind of connection you actually want. Don't waste your time pulling secrets from a woman who's already made the decision to protect herself from you. Rebuild your masculine frame. Reconnect with your purpose. She will either realign or reveal that she was never emotionally available to begin with. Either way, you win by choosing truth over illusion. Stop tolerating partial presence. Stop settling for mystery packaged as maturity. If she's hiding, she's deciding. And that decision doesn't require your approval. It requires your response. Get focused. Get mission-driven. Get back to being the man who commands truth. Not because he demands it, but because his life doesn't tolerate anything less. Build a world she either respects or stays out of. Number 3, you're no longer her priority. You'll know you're no longer her priority when everything else starts coming before you. Her job, her phone, her friends, her gym sessions, even her need to scroll through reels she's seen 100 times already. You feel the shift not in one big blowout, but in the everyday absence of presence. She used to rearrange her life just to steal 15 more minutes with you. Now she doesn't have time to reply to a simple text. She used to text you good morning with 3 emojis. Now she leaves you on red for hours. The man she once couldn't get enough of has become the background noise in her playlist of distractions. You see it when her calendar fills up, but your name's no longer in it. You used to be her sanctuary. Now she's always too busy to meet, too tired to talk, too overwhelmed to connect. If she cancels plans and never reschedules, she's no longer prioritizing you. If she finds time to comment on strangers' posts, but can't find a moment to check in on you, She's made her decision. You're optional now. And the brutal truth is this: the second a woman sees you as optional, you've already lost the frame. Because a woman will never invest deeply in a man who places her on a pedestal while she places him on a shelf. Stop chasing. Stop proving your worth to someone who's already decided you're not her main character. Men get it twisted. They confuse her politeness for interest, her occasional smile for affection, her habitual replies for emotional investment. But a woman's priority list doesn't lie. Her actions will always reveal where you stand, and if you're not at the top, you're not on it at all. In today's world, where attention is currency, the person who gets the most of her energy owns her focus, and the man who owns her focus owns her future. If that's not you, wake up, start observing. When a woman values a man, she makes space for him, not excuses. She plans around him, not beyond him. She wants to be part of his routine, not an occasional visitor. If she's always on her phone but never messaging you, if she's always dressed up but rarely for you, she's showing you everything you need to see. You don't need to confront her. You need to recalibrate yourself. Because the problem isn't that she's not prioritizing you. The problem is you've allowed yourself to be deprioritized. Ask yourself, what am I tolerating that a man of self-respect wouldn't? Why am I begging for basic attention when I should be commanding emotional loyalty? Why am I choosing to stay in a space where I feel like a placeholder instead of a priority? You have to understand, women are biologically wired to be drawn to dominance, presence, purpose. A man who's mission-driven will never beg for a place in her life because he knows the right woman will fight to be part of his. If she's not reciprocating your energy, she's resourcing it elsewhere. And maybe it's not another man. Maybe it's validation, vanity, or just her own distractions. But either way, you're not the center anymore. That matters. Because when a man loses his spot at the center, he either collapses trying to win it back, or he reclaims himself so powerfully that he no longer needs it. This is where you evolve. This is where you stop trying to be her comfort and start becoming your own commander. Redefine your standards, remove the pedestal, reignite your direction. Women are attracted to men who move like they matter, who treat their time as sacred, who don't tolerate inconsistency because they are consistency. The fastest way to regain priority is to remove your availability, not out of spite, but out of principle. Stop being the man who always waits around. Be the man who's moving so fast toward his future that anyone not aligned gets left behind. She'll notice. She'll either step up or she'll step out. And both are wins for you. If she sees your absence as relief instead of regret, then she was never yours to begin with. And if she realigns when she sees your standards rise, then she was just waiting for you to remember who you are. But never ever forget, your life is the main event. Don't let anyone make you feel like a side quest. You were born to lead, not to linger. So take your energy back from any woman who no longer values it. Invest it into your health, your money, your network, your purpose. Prioritize your evolution so deeply that she has to fight for a spot or accept the silence. Because the second she stops choosing you, you have every right, no, every duty to choose yourself, without apology, without delay, without a second thought. Number 4, irritation becomes default response. She doesn't snap because you're wrong, she snaps because she's done. The man she once used to laugh with now irritates her by simply existing in the same room. Everything you say, every breath you take, every small gesture becomes an excuse for her to project her frustration onto you. But don't be fooled. This isn't about your tone or your timing. This is about her emotions no longer being anchored in affection. She used to find your quirks charming. Now she flinches at them like they're flaws. You say the same jokes and she sighs. You ask the same questions and she rolls her eyes. You try to touch her and she tenses up. Not because she's moody, but because she's emotionally checking out, and her subconscious is looking for a villain to justify it. That villain is you. You'll start hearing passive-aggressive comments where there used to be words of encouragement. You'll feel tension in her presence, even though you haven't changed a thing. That's because her heart already left, and now her mind is trying to find a reason to justify it. She needs to prove to herself that the love is gone, not just emotionally, but logically, and so she begins to convince herself that your presence, your habits, your way of being are to blame. And men, this is where most guys start apologizing for things they didn't do. They start walking on eggshells, trying not to upset her, trying to reclaim the peace that used to be effortless. But peace can't be forced with a woman who's already convinced herself you're the source of her discontent. You become the emotional dartboard for every unresolved feeling she's too afraid to face. She's not mad at you because of what you did today. She's mad because her emotional alignment with you has shifted and she doesn't want to admit it. So now she sees everything through a lens of annoyance. You could be giving her the world, and she'd still find a reason to snap at how you handed it to her. It's not you. It's her unspoken guilt, her internal struggle, her fear of confronting the truth, that she doesn't feel the same way anymore. And when she can't face that truth, she projects blame outward. This is where you stop asking what you did wrong and start asking what you're tolerating. Because the moment a woman starts resenting your presence, you need to stop proving yourself and start repositioning yourself. Ask yourself, have I become so soft in her eyes that she no longer respects me? Have I surrendered so much of my power that she no longer feels emotionally secure around me? Because women don't stay soft in the presence of weakness. They harden. They become critical, cold, distant. Not because they're evil, but because they're wired to respond to strength, leadership, clarity. If you've lost your edge, you've lost her attention, and attention is the currency of intimacy. When she feels emotionally uncertain, she'll test you. Her irritation isn't just rejection, it's a test of your emotional backbone. Can you remain composed while she throws heat? Can you maintain your values without folding to her moods? Can you call out disrespect without losing control? Because if you can't, she'll bury your identity beneath her frustration and never look back. She'll start talking to you like you're the problem when really you're just the closest target for her discontent. And you'll be tempted to fix it, to change yourself for her approval, to mute your voice so you don't trigger her reactions. Don't. The more you shrink, the more she despises you. The less you speak your truth, the less she values your words. Women don't want a man who adapts to their moods. They want a man whose presence recalibrates the room, not with aggression, but with grounded certainty. If she starts picking fights over nothing, don't argue, don't justify, don't beg, reflect, then respond with masculine discipline. Let your actions show that you're not tolerating emotional volatility disguised as communication. If she respects you, she'll pause. If she doesn't, she'll escalate. And both outcomes are gifts. One reveals possibility, the other reveals clarity. Either way, you win. You don't heal emotional erosion with romantic gestures. You heal it by resetting the standard, by demanding mutual respect, by embodying the kind of man who doesn't need to explain his value because it's felt in the way he moves, speaks, and holds his frame. Stop chasing peace with a woman who's addicted to conflict. If she no longer sees you as a place of calm, become a storm she can't manipulate. Detach, recenter, reclaim your spine. Show her what emotional control looks like, what a man sounds like when he's had enough of being blamed for someone else's emotional confusion. And if she still finds fault in you while you're standing in integrity, you know the connection isn't love, it's emotional dependency. Walk away, not out of rage, but out of clarity, because a man who respects himself will never tolerate being treated like a problem in a woman's life he once used to heal. You were built for more than surviving her moods. You were made to lead with power, presence, and peace. Any woman who's truly for you won't turn you into a villain just to justify her own detachment. She'll sit with her feelings, she'll communicate, she'll grow, and if she won't, then it's your job to rise, not rescue. Set the tone, set the boundary, and if necessary, set the distance. Because a woman who can't regulate her emotions will always destroy the man who lets her. Be the one who doesn't just endure her irritation. Be the one who exposes it with his unwavering strength. That's what resets the dynamic. That's what reclaims your power. That's what rebuilds your masculine essence into something no woman can ignore or take for granted. Number 5. Silence overflows. You don't notice the silence right away because it doesn't shout, it creeps in. At first, she just seems tired, then distracted, then uninterested. And before you realize it, you're having conversations with yourself. You used to talk for hours about everything and nothing, what made her laugh, what made her cry, the little dreams she had about vacations, careers, or childhood memories. Now you ask how her day went and get a dry, "It was fine." Not because she's busy, but because she's no longer investing energy into you. Silence is her new form of communication, and it speaks volumes. She used to initiate deep talks. Now she scrolls in bed next to you. She used to light up when you spoke. Now she barely reacts. And men misread this all the time. They think giving her space will fix it. No, she's not craving space. She's slipping into it. She's emotionally detaching in real time. And the more you tiptoe around it, the more it solidifies. Her silence is not absence of noise, it's absence of effort. Women don't stop speaking because they don't have something to say. They stop because they've decided it's no longer worth saying to you. And this is the hardest truth to accept. She doesn't feel emotionally safe, curious, or excited with you anymore. She doesn't want to connect. She wants peace. And right now, silence gives her more peace than you do. Every man needs to understand this. When a woman's words go quiet, her mind is screaming with things she no longer wants to explain. She's done teaching you how to understand her. She's done repeating herself. She's done hoping you'll notice what's missing. The silent treatment isn't punishment. It's disconnection. And if you don't act, it becomes permanent. You want to fix this? Stop waiting for her to speak. Start watching her behavior. Start leading with presence. Reinforce structure in your life so your presence alone becomes a statement. Silence kills relationships faster than anger. Anger means she still cares enough to argue. Silence means she no longer believes anything will change. So be the change. Not by begging her to talk, but by giving her something worth talking about again. Become unpredictable in the best way. Reinvent your physicality. Speak less, but with purpose. Set standards for communication, not ultimatums. Speak your truth calmly and consistently. Create an environment where her silence no longer works, because it doesn't control you. The moment you stop fearing her silence, you stop being manipulated by it. Women respect men who face emotional shutdowns with clarity, not compliance. If she's silent and you respond with quiet strength, she's forced to either reconnect or walk away. And either decision exposes the truth. Stop chasing conversations. Start creating gravity. Silence may be a phase, but if you tolerate it without self-awareness, it becomes your reality. Don't normalize being emotionally starved. Don't confuse peace with passivity. Build a life that speaks so loudly, even her silence can't ignore it. And if she continues to say nothing, say everything with how you live, lead, and leave. Number 6. Disconnection with no explanation. You wake up next to her, but it feels like sleeping next to a stranger. She's still doing the things she's supposed to, saying good morning, sending the occasional emoji, cooking a meal. But the soul behind the action is missing. This is disconnection without confrontation. No screaming, no breakdown, just absence in plain sight. And men, this is the final stage of emotional death. She's already left emotionally. She's just tying up loose ends before she leaves physically. You ask if everything's okay and she says, "I'm fine." But she doesn't look at you. She doesn't touch you. She doesn't even really see you anymore. Her eyes used to search your face. Now they barely glance. You've become routine, predictable, emotionally replaceable. When a woman disconnects like this, it's because she's preparing her exit. She doesn't want to be the bad guy. She's hoping you'll sense it and end it for her. She's mentally living in a future that doesn't include you, and every act of intimacy becomes a performance she's growing tired of. This is the point where most men double down on effort. They start planning trips, buying gifts, trying harder, but that only repels her more because it screams insecurity. She doesn't want more from you. She wants different, a different energy, a different presence, a different man than the one you've become. You've stopped challenging her emotionally, spiritually, mentally. She's drifted because there's nothing anchoring her here anymore. You stopped leading. You became passive, complacent, boring, and now she's quietly moving on. If she no longer shares her future with you, if she no longer discusses problems, if she avoids depth, she's already halfway out the door. No explanation, just quiet exits and slow fades. And you can't stop her, but you can reclaim yourself. You can stop being the man who tolerates half-love. You can stop allowing her to live rent-free in your soul. You can re-establish your standard by walking away from what's unspoken but obvious. Ask yourself, am I staying because I'm comfortable or because I'm truly connected? Am I afraid of starting over, or am I afraid of facing the truth? Her disconnection isn't just sad, it's insulting, because it assumes you won't notice, that you'll keep loving someone who's already gone. The man who wins doesn't beg for closure. He gives it to himself. He doesn't force explanations. He reads the energy and makes executive decisions. If you feel disconnected and she offers no effort to reconnect, it's already over. Stop delaying the inevitable. Take your dignity and go. The man who accepts quiet exits without action becomes a ghost of himself. But the man who responds with clarity becomes untouchable. Choose clarity every time. You've seen it all now: the distance, the silence, the secrecy, the irritation, the disconnection. The signs don't lie, and neither should you. If she's changing, if her energy's fading, if her actions scream what her words won't, then you have a choice. Chase her and lose yourself, or choose yourself and find your power. Every man must decide. Will you keep tolerating emotional starvation just to keep someone who's already gone? Or will you reclaim your masculine edge and rebuild a life so powerful that no woman can overlook it again? You weren't born to beg. You weren't built to break over someone who doesn't value you. You are the prize, and when you start living like it, everything changes. Subscribe right now if this message shook something in you. Share this with a man who's drowning in silence, confusion, and pain. And remember, love should never cost you your dignity.